Good morning. My name's Judith Matheson, and I've been privileged to be in the circles of Grandfather William Commanda, the late grandfather, who taught very much the significance of the land and the water in the sacred unceded land of the Algonquin in this area in which I'm very, very privileged to live. This morning I'm privileged to be with Albert Dumont. Albert Dumont is a wonderful Algonquin elder who will be sharing his wisdoms with us this morning. And my first question, as we look at the significance of the Chaudière Falls for many people in this region, is to hear from Albert what is the significance to him and to his people of the sacredness of not just the land but the Chaudière Falls in this area. So Albert, could you please sort of help us understand why so deeply the Algonquin feel that infinity and connection to the land?
Well, we have to understand about what spirituality is, first of all, and to understand that whenever we physically die, it's something that's attached to us, something that has taken note of all our deeds, our good deeds and our bad deeds. It continues to live. And because of that we know it as human beings, I feel that we're duty bound to be to behave in a certain way and to follow the instructions that the Great Spirit expects from human beings. And whenever we talk about spirituality, it's important to have a place of spiritual significance, like a place where human beings can go and to understand that that place is special, even though any area of the land is special. To be beside any tree, to be beside any river or creek, or to be in a field, and wherever there's flowers growing or whatever life is there, that you're beside something sacred. And that's important to understand. But there still, though, there's a place where, where the river speaks, where the waters sing. And I really believe that where there's falls and rapids, that the sound that is made there, I believe that those sounds are the sounds of all things that are alive. Like the song of the mosquito, the song of the robin, the call of the moose, the call of the deer, the howl of the wolf, the swing of the trees, all those sounds together, when you put them all together, it makes that sound like what we hear at the rapids or hear at the falls. So whenever the falls are there and all this singing and where this place is constantly communicating to Great Spirit, everything that's around it. And we go there and we put tobacco in those waters and in a humble way, because we have to be humble before nature, because nature is more powerful than we are. Human beings, for all our intelligence and for all that we can do, whenever we're beside nature, we are small and weak beside the trees and beside the birds, and they sing better than we do, and they're more wise than we are, and we have to humble ourselves before them. And whenever we go to a place like the Chaudière Falls, the kettle of boiling waters, we have to be humble and to understand about spirituality, because we go to a spirit world where there is no technology. There's no technology in the spirit world, and we have to understand to not allow technology to damage our emotions as human beings. We always have to keep our humanity, to understand that we have to be together as human beings. And whenever we go to a place like the falls, like this, a powerful place like that, we understand about how important it is to hold hands as human beings. Whatever color you are, wherever you came from on this planet, we can stand at a place like that together as human beings in a circle with our hands together and love one another and respect one another and understand that we have to preserve nature. Because these things, like the partridge or the eagle, and these medicines like this, and these things that we use in our spiritual ceremonies, they expect to be fed, and a place to feed them is at a place like the Chaudière Falls. And my people always understood that, right from the time they were created, that there had to be a special place. And so for those many thousands of years that the people recognized that place as a sacred site, And we're not going to stop just because we're living in this time of high technology. That doesn't mean to say that we stop our spiritual beliefs and move away from these things. At this point in time, we have no choice but to even make it stronger.
Yes.
Because of the power of technology has.
Even more imperative in these times,
Yes,
Albert.
exactly.
Yeah. To have people experience the deep spirituality of being in sacred relationship with nature helps them to remember who they are deeply.
I totally agree.
So the times in which we're living are very significant also, Albert, to the First Nation original peoples of Canada, the Métis, the Inuit, the Algonquin, all of the First Nations, in them helping us to understand the significance of the deep connection of nature restoring us to ourselves, to who we are inside. Would you say that that is also the deep spirituality of the connection to your family, to your ancestors? Maybe you could speak to us of the significance of relationship, not just to nature, but to our families.
Yes, you know, this picture here is a picture of my grandparents, and they on my mother's side, and my father's parents were full-blooded Algonquins, but on my mother's side they were also Algonquins, and so they got to know me. I was their grandson, and my brothers and sisters, you know, were their grandchildren, and they loved us. You know, nobody loves there's no love like grandpa and grandma's love.
Mm-hmm.
And they never got to know my grandchildren because they were, physically they didn't get to know them, but spiritually they know them very well. And myself, I know that this young couple in that photograph love my grandchildren as much as they loved me. And the same thing for me. Like my grandchildren's grandchildren, they're not born yet, but I love them. And it's just as much as I love the grandchildren I could hold. And so I want to do what is best by them, and to teach them about spirituality, to make them understand that them too, they will be ancestors someday. Even my grandchildren's grandchildren who are not born yet will be ancestors someday. And we need to keep that connection. We need to keep that spirituality alive and well, and we need to feed it, and we need to nurture it, and we need to stand together even with those future generations. Even though we cannot see them, we can see them in our own eyes. We can see them in our own actions, and you know, and the love we have for one another, the circles we have today. These circles will still be occurring hundreds of years from now if we do our work properly now, our duty, you know, and embrace our responsibilities as human beings and as relatives of those future generations. And I know for me, I'm not going to let anything stop me from doing that, because love is strong, and commitment is a commitment. It's everlasting. If you vow and understand that we have to leave this land healthy for those human beings, those relatives that haven't been born yet, and those waters need to be pure, and the wind needs to be fit to go into our lungs, and you know, how else can anybody say it?
And the other way of looking at that is the significance of how we choose to walk more gently on the planet at this time of great change is very important. The energy that we bring, the deep spirituality we bring, to better care for ourselves, to love ourselves so we can be a loving presence. And the significance of what you're talking about, Albert, for future generations. The significance of healing and being in circles as one culture on earth. All citizens of the planet yearn for the same thing, to experience peace, but when we're looking at the indigenous ways of helping us to remember that the deep connection to the land and to the water and to each other is important, not just for ourselves, but for future generations and for our ancestors. And so when you were looking at the times in which we're living, what would you like us to begin to learn to do for ourselves in this era of awakening to what is most important?
Just to understand that we're all human beings and we're connected that way. You know, we have a heart, and the heart, it's when blood enters your heart, the blood is in a place that your soul knows, and that blood, whenever, you know, supposing you have a mishap, and in the garden or doing your chores in the kitchen or whatever the case might be, and you see a drop of your blood, you're seeing something that's been in your heart, and you could actually, it's an opportunity to say a prayer of thanksgiving that you are a human being and have the ability to communicate and to respect the land, and you know, it's an opportunity that people need to take seriously, that the blood of a human being, you know, has been in the heart of a human being, and that with that blood comes the promise that we have made to work and protect the nature at whatever cost. You know, we shouldn't think about the economy. You know, whatever dollars it's going to cost to keep the land healthy, we should sacrifice, and so that the land is always healthy.
And the heart of the whole issue of the deep spirituality of the Indigenous people is reminding us of the significance of each person making different lifestyle choices, so that we also are accountable, responsible for walking more gently in our lifestyle choices, and perhaps not getting so caught into the technology and the rushing and the busyness of life that we see. Would you say, Albert, these are times of significantly going full circle for humanity to slow down and to breathe, and to honor that the heart is connecting us to the soul that connects us all to each other as one?
Most definitely. You know, we, at this point of time, you know, with the way computers are, and the way, like, a car is not a car anymore, it's a computer on wheels. And so we wonder what's going to be occurring 20 years from now. And we have to be a little bit afraid. I think that a wise person is afraid, a little bit afraid, concerned about what's going to occur with technology in 20 years. So we have to establish that strong spiritual base to keep it healthy, and to whatever technology is going to present. We need to understand that we are human beings, and that we need to love each other, no matter if it's somebody in the Congo or somebody in the Middle East or somebody in Siberia or next door. We have to understand that a human being is a human being, and a human being's life is precious. And when the day comes that we don't understand that anymore, that we don't care what's going on in other areas where there's people that are suffering, well then we're landed in a bad place, I think. Technology has taken over to a certain degree to people who do not respect the life of other human beings wherever they are on this planet.
And so would you say, Albert, that the most significant thing that we as elders of any culture can do is to model the significance of walking more gently and slowing down the mind and breathing and having the wisdom to see that we cannot sustain the way we're living in the Western world right now. And for future generations, it's really imperative that we model to our grandchildren other choices. And so when people have choice, they can perhaps walk more gently in relationship and return to the circle of the family, sitting and listening and discussing heart to heart, soul to soul.
I couldn't have said it any better than that. That's exactly it. You know, whenever we hold a baby, now a baby, they're the same wherever they are, and to hold it in your arms, and you close your eyes, and you know that a baby is there. And somebody hands you that baby, and it's wrapped in a blanket, and you can't see that baby's face. You don't know what color it is. You don't, and you'll hear it cry, and it's not speaking a language that would identify it as as being English or French or Jewish or Arab or whatever the case might be. It's a baby. It's a human being that's a baby, and we need to nurture it like that and hold it close and protect it because it's a baby, and it's a human being. And if you take the blanket off and you see that it's black, well then it's a black baby. Or if it's a white baby or a red baby or a yellow baby. A baby is a baby, and we need to protect each other, those future generations, whatever age that they are, and to understand that again we could never forget about the promise that human beings made to honor and respect that other spirit, those other beings that are here to help us to live. They do their duty, and all they ask is that we treat them with respect and honor, and to not waste them, to not waste to harvest them needlessly or for foolishness. We need to respect all that all the time.
And to really return to the significance that in deep, authentic relationship, as we engage in conversations such as this morning, what I sense is happening in the world that is awakening to the deep spirituality that perhaps we have forgotten, is that within our core is the same deep vibration of love that yearns to express. And in having significant conversations and being in nature and holding hands and connecting, what we do is we bring forth that divine spirit that yearns to express through the human heart what is best in each other. And so, Albert, would you say that the wonderful vision of Grandfather William Commanda, the late elder of the Algonquin people, whose great vision was to restore the Algonquin people's wisdom and voices to the world, that we could hear your wisdom, would you say that Grandfather's legacy is living on in many hearts now and growing and becoming real in a world that's returning back to the significance of our original roots?
I know that anyone who knew William Commanda and respected his message were forever changed, and they've made commitments that they would have never made if they would have never crossed paths with him. And they're like agents that go far beyond the territory, and they speak of his vision and his wisdom, and they urge others, encourage others to love the land and to embrace harmony among all races, and that's a great thing for sure.
And to live, well, actually what Grandfather's greatest vision was, to see the world to be a circle of all nations, linking hearts and minds and souls, to truly live from what is best in ourselves, and to bring out of each other what is simply best in ourselves. So Albert, thank you so much this morning for this sacred time and this sacred space in your beautiful home. And it's a joy and a pleasure to hear the wisdom of the elders being heard. And so this is Judith Matheson from the Heart and Soul Light Center in Gatineau, Aylmer, signing off and inviting all of you to experience the deep wisdom of Elder Albert Dumont. Thank you, and miigwech.